All right, guys, welcome back to Behind the Beat, February 2025. Happy to be back once more. And today we're highlighting the first single from my upcoming album, When Love's the Motive, and it's called Real Home. Just dropped on January 31st. Been out for, at this point of when I'm recording this, it will have been out for probably 2 to 3 weeks. But I'm very pleased with how this one came out, and I think it's a great representation of what you can expect from this upcoming album, which is When Love's the Motive. And I think just this one was a great one to start out with because I felt like it kind of set the tone. I wouldn't call it much of a somber track as much as it is like more of a reflective track. And when I started to kind of shift the concept of this project in the way that I did, I felt like a song like this would fit in perfectly. A little backstory on the project, first of all, and I'll probably tell this again, but the project was initially going to be an EP, an R&B EP with different artists featured on it. So it was going to have, I don't really know who I had in mind for it, but it was going to be R&B artists that I had worked with before, and then I ended up changing my mind because that really wasn't working out. I was trying to get people, and the verses weren't coming back in time, or people were just preoccupied with other things. So when I decided to start doing more instrumental albums, this was one of the first concepts I had in mind for it. And I was like, I love the title already, and I kind of just want to shift it over there. So I made this kind of my version of not necessarily like traditional R&B, but like my version of like combinations of R&B, neo soul, and just love songs in general, and just kind of things that make me remind me of love that might remind someone else of love too. So Real Home is just to me the quintessential version of that, and I think it was great to lead off with. And I just love the way that the mix came out. The mix is super clean, and just the way that everything kind of works in unison on this one. I really enjoyed. So let's get right into it. As you can see, it's my standard, well, pretty standard 5 track beat. And the first main part that you hear in this beat is the pads, which I believe I kind of reversed, maybe pitched down a little bit. Let me check this real quick. Yeah, it looks like I time stretched it a little bit. I think I kept the pitch the same, but I think I just kind of made it a lot longer. It was probably 4 bars at first, so I stretched it to 8. So let's hear that first before we get into the rest of this thing. It's kind of a two-parter. Like it kind of has a gradual ascension a little bit. Not sure what key that was in. It looks like it was an A sharp minor, according to how it's labeled. So I wanted to start the song off with that. So that's like the first thing you hear before we get into kind of where the build up and the breakdown comes in, near where the hook is. The second part I added in was actually ended up being part of the hook itself, and it's the guitar, which I thought was really cool. I ended up adding, I believe I added a good amount of reverb to this. A little bit of saturation, a little bit of dampness to the reverb. I love the guitars that are super saturated. They can kind of sit with the main leads where it kind of just, I don't know, it's occupying its own space, but it really adds to the main chorus, the main element part. I think that's exactly what I had in mind on this. So let's hear that one. And that one's obviously in reverse. I don't know if this was the direct influence, probably not, but this kind of reminds me of a song that Stally, who's one of my favorite MCs, who actually inspired the title of this project, When Love's the Motive. He has a song called The Issue, and the beat, actually, the whole outro of the beat is like a guitar in reverse mixed with some other elements, but that always like stood out to me. It's like such a cool ending of a track. Like there's no vocals or anything. That's exactly what this guitar kind of reminds me of. And it sounds very cool, like soloed out like that. So that's really nice right there. Next up is the keys, the piano keys, which I ended up just chopping up and kind of rearranging, keeping certain parts of a longer arrangement. So let's hear what parts I did keep. So I just kept those to, pretty much join up with that main pad. Um, and that's the same key. I'm pretty sure it's just A sharp minor. Chopped it up. I'm not going to play it, but there was a longer arrangement that I took from and just kind of took the little parts I wanted and redid them. And there's a delay on those keys as well. So I think that's just Fruity Delay that I added on. Yeah, delay bank, which I've shown you guys probably before. A little bit of a delay in there. And you can hear it, you can kind of hear it when, you're listening to the full track, but you obviously can hear it a lot more when it's soloed out by itself. Next up, we have the percussion, which to me is the standout percussion from really the whole project. When you guys hear all 10 tracks together, this was kind of some different styles of production compared to what, or not different styles of production, but different styles of percussion that I was looking to do. And this one definitely has the standout percussion to me because it's more rooted in jazz and definitely live elements. And the parts I kept with it from the full drum break that I chopped up, I really love the way it's chopped. So let's check those out. So it has those nice little rides, those nice little open hi hats, and the snare and the kick are very much that of a normal live drum kit, which I think just played very well because I didn't want to have anything that was super harsh or like overpowering the musical elements. I felt like this was something to kind of come down to, relax to, like I said earlier, reflect to. Nothing that was going to be very boisterous or in your face, nothing like that. So I wanted the percussion to reflect that, and I think it did its job perfectly. I think just the way it works with everything else is on point, honestly, exactly how I envisioned it. And the last element we have is the bass line. And this was again, a bass line that I took and I pretty much just chopped it up a little bit. It looks like I time stretched it just a bit, kept it in the same key, but let's check that out. See, that's not a very flashy bass. It's more of like a saw wave bass that I just kind of EQ'd a little bit. Again, I wasn't trying to overdo it on any of these elements. Just be very subtle, and then when you combine everything, it all works. So let's hear everything together now. If I can do this right, let's hear all this stuff together for the final product. So that is that. Like I said, the influences are kind of a mix of neo soul, jazz, contemporary, and all that kind of just curled into one big thing, but with my own influence and my own taste on it. But I just felt like this was a great track to put out first, and you guys are going to hear two more singles, which will probably be the tracks I break down in March and April. And you'll see kind of the way they're a little bit different, but the way they all kind of fit together exactly how they should. And this is going to be another, like I said, 10-track project. But I hope you guys enjoy this one and definitely go give it a listen. It's called Real Home. It's out now on all streaming platforms. I'll be sure to put the link in the description so you can go check it out on whatever streaming service you use. But I really am a big fan of the way this one came out. It's just a nice mellow track. I think it's going to do well in some Spotify playlists, things like that. Almost feel like I could do a remix of this song with an artist, maybe a singer, some type of vocalist to get on this thing and just kind of pour their heart out on it. So hopefully I can do that too eventually. And if anybody's out there, if you hear this track, you feel like you could, add some vocals to it, let me know. Because like I said, I really initially wanted to make this project an R&B project with artists. It just didn't really work out that way. It ended up becoming a beat tape, but I feel like these tracks have a lot of potential to attract some vocalists out there. But I hope you guys like watching the breakdown for this one. Go check it out. Be on the lookout for more coming up in the next couple months from this project, and stay tuned for more updates. But as always, appreciate you guys for watching. We'll see you next month in March. Take care.